Hello, I'm Jason Peacock. This is Jason Talks About Games. It's my board gaming blog where I just discuss anything I feel like that has to do with board gaming. It's generally what I've been playing, what I think of what I'm playing, or some exciting news that I picked up on that I want to share with you. So let's just jump into it. Now, I have been one of the playtesters for the new Havoc expansion, Aftermath. So I've been trying to get this game to the table as much as possible, and my beautiful wife, Jessica, has been helping me with that quite a bit. We've got 4 plays in, and we played a 3-player game with our Tuesday night game group. So yeah, Havoc's a really great dudes on a map strategy game. It's a heavy thinking strategy game, and one in which every single decision you make matters immensely. You cannot afford to waste an action on something that's not going to benefit you. That might be a positive for some people and a turn-off for others. I find in a 2-player game, the 3 actions per round just isn't enough. So I suggested a epic mode with 5 or 6 actions per turn, just so you have more time to put together a more long-term strategy. But I digress. So, just been mixing in some of the new skills and buildings and leaders, and giving my feedback to Ignacy Trevicek, well, he's not the designer, but he's the owner of Portal Games, and he designs quite a bunch of their other games, almost all that I own and love. Right here, Ignacy, with a new one announced on the horizon, this detective game coming out in 2018, where you're trying to solve a mystery, but you can jump on your phone and use the internet and search around for clues that way. I don't know much about it, but it sounds fascinating. So, anyways, yeah, Havoc. Dudes on the map, 4 asymmetrical factions, which isn't easy to do. There's these 4-armed super hugs that, I just call them that because they got 4 arms. They're called the Pilgrims, actually. And they're all about like harvesting the land and growing their crystals that way. You got the humans that are super maneuverable, probably the easiest to play and easiest to win with. They can fly all around the map. They can take over territories they're not even in. You've got the machines that have more buildings to choose from. They're slow to build, but once they are a presence on the map, they're a foe to be reckoned with. And then there's a Trog. The only way you can use these as a faction is if you play a 4-player game. And 4 player is my favorite with this, because with a player controlling the Trogs, it's just awesome. But otherwise, they are the neutral territory on the map, and the person to your left controls them in a fight. And the battle system in this game is one of the biggest draws about it. You've got a battle board. You can put your focuses in just getting the area control, taking a prisoner, or just killing enemies. And then you've got the deck building aspect of this game, where you can play these battle cards that switches things up and changes the position of the battle when it's actually being resolved. So there's a lot of foresight into that, saving the right cards for the right battle. It's alright with 2. It's great with 3 and 4. I'm going to be playing this more this month, trying to give Ignacy as much feedback as possible. Alright, so that's Havoc. Another game I haven't played in quite a while was Run, Fight, or Die. I forgot how much I enjoy this game. Richard Launius designed it, and it's 1 to 4 players. I've never played 1 player, but it's got the King of Tokyo Yahtzee mechanic where you're rolling dice. You've got a board in front of you, zone 1, 2, and 3, and the zombies are constantly being added to your board, and they're moving towards you. If they move from zone 1 up any further, then they do damage to your character. You're trying to explore locations, find followers, grab loot, watch out for the big boss that might show up. The main way to win the game is by getting 5 followers, signals the end of the game, and your followers will have points. The followers are very thematic. The higher point ones will give you a big negative drawback, and the lower point ones will give you a positive advantage, like an extra dice or something. This one, Screaming Cheerleader, has got a bit of both. She screams and takes a zombie from somebody else's zone 3 and adds it to your zone 3, and she smacks away a zombie out of zone 1 every round. There's another Town Coward or whatever, where you have to spend a run dice just to keep him every round, or he runs to the player on your left. I played a 2-player game of this, and it was a blast. Alright, now a couple of abstract strategy games that I want to talk about. There is Tack, this beautiful little wooden piece game that is based on a description of a game in a book. The book is like the King Killer trilogy or something like that. I haven't read the book, and forgive me if I said the name of it wrong. But there's a description of 2 people playing a game in this book, and the designers based a game around this. And it's a phenomenal 2-player abstract strategy. You have 2 different kinds of pieces and a capstone. You can play a 3, 4, 5, or 6 by 6 grid of a game. Depending on how big of a grid you're going to use is determined by how many pieces. But just say a regular 5 by 5 grid, which is how I like to play. You've got like 20-something pieces and then a capstone. You can play a piece flat or standing up on end. If it's standing up on end, it's a wall. You win the game by building a road from one side of the board to the other. If you jump on a piece, then you control that stack. If there's like 3, 4 pieces on a stack and you're on top, you can pick up that stack and dropping one piece off the bottom of that as you go, move around the board that way. So there's quite a bit of foresight to this. Like it's got like a chess go like depth to this, because I mean you could sit there and play it over a coffee and just play casually, but really smart players can pull off some cool moves in this. My son is asking me to play this all the time. He's a master of the 3x3 board. I can't even beat him. It's driving me crazy. But yeah, I mean, just look at this game. It looks cool. It's elegant. It plays pretty quick. Definitely a game I'll be keeping. And the other abstract strategy game, Element. This is another game my son's always asking me to play. I think he just loves these abstract games. There's 4 different types of elements, and you're drawing them from a bag every round. You're putting them on the board anywhere, and they all do something different. If you put down a fire, then it spreads and adds another fire token. Water, you put it down, and then that whole column of water will move around the board. Air lets you jump, and earth ends up turning into a mountain range and just simply blocking certain paths off. You win this game by completely surrounding the opponent's sage, they call it. Now this thing plays awesome 2 players. It's a lot of fun. It's not perfect information though, so it's not 100% strategy, because somebody can pull something out of the bag and totally be like, oh man. So really you just have to use the elements that you grab to your advantage and just try and stay as far away from everything as possible. Just because it's not perfect information, it doesn't mean there isn't a ton of strategy though. And the cool thing about this is it plays 3 and 4 player, and I think it's going to be awesome at 3 and 4 player. I've only played 2, and I like it. I would play this game anytime. Again, it plays in 10 to 25 minutes. Really interestingly designed abstract game. It's just been a killer year for abstract strategies. We've got Santorini, Tack and Element, the 2 I've just talked about. Onitama, one of my favorite abstract strategy games of last year, is coming out with an expansion soon. Alright, let's just keep this thing moving along though. Steampunk Rally. Playing this with my son. He wanted to give it a go. You are inventors in a race. You're trying to get to the finish line and cross the first. You got around to drafting. You're drafting 4 cards, 1 from each deck. You've got like your lightning based, your fire based, your steam based, and then your like special abilities, which you can use to play when the time is right. And you're either just going to get rid of these cards and take dice, 2 dice for whatever type of card they were, or you're going to add this machine to your invention, and you just have to connect them by these links, and you can totally have like the biggest, craziest invention going. And you're rolling your dice, and you're adding these dice to your invention to get movement, to generate movement, to turn some dice and other dice, to heal yourself. There's all kinds of different stuff that your machine does, and it's a great efficiency-driven engine building game. Like, this is literally an engine building game. It's an engine building game. But yeah, I had a good time. I love it when my son pulls out these games I haven't played forever. I'm always like, oh, well, let's play something, new and exciting. But I'm glad he keeps pulling these ones I haven't touched in forever out. Just take a look at my son's, what he's got built here. He loves games where you're constructing something or building something. He had a blast with it. That's Steampunk Rally. Interesting drafting, engine building, racing game. And finally, I've been talking about this just about every one of these. Conan, we got that to the table last night, my son and I. And this game it's one of the greatest games ever. I love it. I mean, Conan's just not one game. Every one of these scenarios is a completely different game. So I feel like I've got 30 different games in that Conan box. The company, Monolith, keeps supporting the game. They keep releasing scenarios on the website. And then there's this phenomenal scenario building website where fans can take any of the maps. There's even a couple of new ones. And they can take every single token in the game, and the scenarios look the same as the Monolith one does. And they're uploaded. People are commenting on them. They're tweaked and tested for balance. They're rated. There is so much content for this game. There's enough to keep it going for years and years to come. Even the scenarios that I played, like I've played the first one in the core set like 8 times now, and I would play it another 8 times. Like, it's just the mechanics of this game I just love. It's such a cinematic, fluid moving game. There's nothing else like it, and there won't be until they release their Batman game, which has got me full froth excited about. But we're probably talking Christmas 2018, early 2019 before that is at anybody's doorstep. And that's all I got for this week. So if you like this video, give me a thumb up. I love that. And consider subscribing if you haven't already. Give me any feedback at all down below. And tell me what you think of these games I've been playing. All right, till next time. Thanks, guys.